Trackwrestling.com here in Paris, France, 2017 World Championships. Greco-Roman in the books for the United States. Another rough day, Coach Lindland. I'm not going to ask you what your thoughts are. I know you're disappointed, but when you reflect on today, what has you most disappointed, most frustrated?
I think today we could have fought. I mean, I felt like, we went out there and we wrestled their style. They're pushing, they're blocking, and we're like, yeah, okay, this is the game we're playing, we're going to do it. That's not how we trained. We trained to attack and keep attacking and scoring points and putting points on the board. That's how you win matches. This is ridiculous to watch these matches where, the referees are deciding the matches 1 point, 2 points, and people are okay with that. Take it out of the officials' hands. Don't complain because you didn't get the passivity call. Go out and take the guy down, put him on his back, and then you can complain. But until you go out there and fight and compete up to your abilities, because we have very good athletes, and they didn't compete up to their abilities today. They didn't go out there and they didn't fight as hard as they're capable of fighting, and I would have liked to have seen that.
Couple of questions regarding the rules. The first one being, I've heard some guys talking about the rules, but I guess in my mind, I think it's a fair question. I look at Russia, I look at Hungary, I look at Iran. They don't seem to be, at least by my eye, struggling with the rules. I mean, sometimes I just sit back and think, you got to figure it out.
You answered your own question, Shane. I mean, the rules are the rules. You got to adjust, you got to figure it out. But I really believe that fighting and attacking and trying to score points is going to win matches. So regardless of the rule set, we can make those adjustments. Those are minor adjustments. It's combat sport. Okay, you understand this. It's not a contact sport. It's not a push sport. It's a fight. It's a battle out there, and we didn't battle today, and that's what we got to get back to as a country, as a philosophy, that's our mentality. This is a martial art. I mean, we're talking combat. I mean, I did not see combat out of everybody today, and that was unfortunate.
I know this is tough for you, Coach Lindland, and excuse my ignorance on this, and I'm looking just to be educated myself. But 10 years ago, it's not that long ago, we were the best team in the world. And now we're having a hard time getting a guy in the quarterfinals, at least this year. I know it's the billion-dollar question, but explain to me how it's gotten to be such a challenge for this country.
Well, I think that's a lot longer conversation. I mean, it comes down to the pipeline, and we're rebuilding the pipeline for sure. I mean, look at our juniors. Our cadets are going to go here in, what do we got, 10 days or something like that?
In Greece.
Yeah, and we got a really talented young group of cadets. I mean, our juniors, last year we had 2 battles. This year we had 2 battles and a world champion. We're bringing that next generation. We're filling that pipeline. I think how great the RTCs are for the freestyle programs has really hurt the Greco programs. We only have one RTC with a college program right now. That's Cornell University. Ryan Medlin just got hired out at Illinois. We're already in conversations and hoping that's going to, spark.
Penn State's got a couple of guys in Manville and Provisor.
Yeah, I don't know.
Perhaps
Provisor, Manville for sure. But I mean, are they wrestling, exclusively Greco-Roman out there? I don't know. I think that's what it is. It's immersion. I mean, that's another part of the process. I love Manville, and I love his style, and I loved his fight. I mean, that's a kid that fought yesterday.
Absolutely.
I mean, our young guys fought, Shane. They got beat on experience. They got beat on a little technical adjustments. Those things we can fix. We can get them over to camps. We can get them to more tournaments. We can get them the experience they need. But they have the fight inside of them. And so they got to raise their level to push these older guys to where they're going to have to fight or they're going to lose their spot.
And that brings up a good point because I don't think there's any doubt nobody's going to question the effort, question the fight a little bit. I think that's fair. I don't want to pile on these guys too bad.
I don't either.
But sometimes is it?
I want to help them.
And you understand. I mean, you've done it. You've been around during the heyday of this country. You've had that success yourself. I don't want to oversimplify it.
Listen, I wasn't that good. That's what I had. I had fight. And I had one simple philosophy when I stepped on that mat. I wanted to make this the most miserable experience on that man's life. I wanted him to never want to step on the mat with me again. That's how hard I fought. And we need to get back to that. We need to when you get on, I mean, let me tell you a little story. Me and the Squee, after the Pan Ams down in, where were we at? We're in Puerto Rico, and we wrestled in the finals of the Pan Am Championship.
And this is when?
This was 1998. We wrestled in the finals of Pan Am Championships in Chile. And after the match, he comes up to me and he gets this little 12-year-old kid. He wants to translate. The kid's, he's a little timid. He don't want to talk. But the Squee basically says to this kid, "Tell Matt, this isn't boxing. This isn't a fight. This is a wrestling match. And let's wrestle and let's not knock my teeth out. You knocked 2 of my teeth out. I live in Cuba. You know how hard it is to get my teeth replaced in Cuba." And I said to the young man, I said, "Well, explain to him that I'm willing to fight him right now, right here." And the kid was like, he was really like, "Oh, I don't know if I could say that." I said, "Please tell him that message." So he tells the Squee, and I get a hug. He's like, "No, I don't want to fight you." No, they don't want to fight. That's the deal. They don't want to fight. They want to push and block and play the game. We need to score points. We need to beat them up. And once we beat them up, look at Pat Smith. That guy is fighting hard. He's fighting every one of these guys. He's right in there. A couple adjustments. That guy's going to get a medal because he's got the desire. He's got the fight inside of him. Today I didn't see that, and it was very unfortunate. And this isn't. I'm not putting my guys down. I love them. They're great men. They're great wrestlers. But they got to find that within them. They got to find that they have it within them. They got to find it.
Does it sometimes come down, and this might be a little bit of an overstatement, but I think you'll get the point. Sometimes is it as simple as we're just not as talented? Is that fair?
I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I really don't know if we're just not as talented. I mean, you asked me that question earlier. What's the problem? I talked about pipeline. I talked about immersion. I mean, I think the other problem is it's our system. We don't have a system like the rest of the nations. We're wrestling a style that only Americans wrestle. And that's where we're starting. We're not starting with the basic body positions. Greco-Roman is the foundation for everything. It's the original martial art. Greco-Roman is having your body in the right position so you can attack. It's not jumping backwards, in and out. It's right there on the guy, consistent pressure and battling.
And this isn't, I'm just being careful, with this particular team, but I think it's one great...
They're men. They're grown men. We don't have to be, too sensitive.
A story that I love is back when Mike Ditka took over for the Chicago Bears, early 80s, whatever it was, and he walked in there and he said, I got good news and bad news for you guys. Because the good news is we're going to win a Super Bowl here. And he said everybody kind of started chuckling. He said the bad news is none of you guys are going to be here when we do it. And I think one thing when you look at USA Wrestling in Greco this past month, you talked about it before. Kamal Bey put up, a 60 spot or close to it at the juniors?
58 points.
58 points. We got some young guys coming up. And perhaps people getting a little bit too comfortable, maybe. When you create some depth, I think that's when you're going to really see some results, and I think we're getting that. So, I mean, that's the silver lining, correct? Is those young kids?
I think that is the silver lining, and I think that's what we're talking about is either you're going to step up and fight this young man, or he's going to take your spot. One of the two. And either way, we're going to have a warrior that's going to step out on the mat at the World Championships, and he's going to fight. And that's what I'm looking for. But that's a great story.
I want to ask you this, Matt. If you were to, explain to a young man what it takes to be the best in the world. We hear it all the time, and it's one ear and out the other. I want to be the best in the world. But when you want to be the best in the world, everything matters. If somebody asked you, I want to be the best in the world, give me 3 or 4 things. Again, you could talk about this for an hour. But what are a few things that you better get if you really want to be at that level?
I'll give you one that I think that we don't like to do, and that's really important. You got to suffer. You got to suffer. There's so much suffering that goes on in this sport, in the training, and getting over here and getting your ass kicked at the World Championships. That's hopefully these guys are suffering a little bit because that pain should burn inside of them. They should feel that, and it should light a fire underneath them. So they're going to get off their ass and fight next time. But you have to be willing to suffer in this sport. I tell you, the first time I went to an international style tournament, it wasn't an international tournament, it was just Greco-Roman freestyle tournament. I went 0-8. How do you go 0-8 in a tournament, you'd ask, right? You lose two matches, you should be out, right? Even with wrestlebacks. But I wrestled cadet freestyle, cadet Greco, junior freestyle. So I was capable of losing 8 matches in one weekend. That's a lot of suffering. And you got to be able to suffer through that. Then I went to the club where all the guys were on the podium. I didn't go to the shitty club. I went to the club where the guys were standing on top of the podium. And you don't think I suffered there? I did. I was the worst guy in that room for a long time. And I'm the only guy out of that room, though, that's got an Olympic medal. We had a world champion out of there. We've had a lot of age group medalists. But we never had Olympic medalists out of that program. And I was literally the worst guy in the room, but I was capable of suffering more than the rest of them.
On the flight back to the U.S., what'll be a couple of thoughts when you look at adjustments? I know, again, I'm not going to ask you for 10, but 1 or 2, we gotta walk before we can run, I guess. But what are a couple of things that have got to change? If you didn't comment on those already.
Well, I might have commented on some of those, but I think discipline. I think we have to be very, very disciplined in everything we do. Not just on the mat, not just when we get here to Paris. We did a good job. We were disciplined in our warm-up, and we didn't get a whole lot of cool-downs because we didn't win a whole lot of matches. But we had discipline. But it's got to be throughout your life. It's got to be a part of your lifestyle. It's got to be a part of who you are. You have structure. You have rules that you live by. You have discipline, and you got to be a good man. You got to have good character. And I've got great guys. I've got guys that are really great, man. I love these guys to death. I want to see them succeed. And maybe I'm being a little hard on them by saying they didn't fight hard enough today, but that's really just because I want to see them succeed. I want to see them have the success I know that they're capable of having.
Really appreciate how candid you've been, and looking forward to doing this down the road under better circumstances.
Yeah,
thanks a lot, Matt.